Welcome everyone to a new Dragon Ball What If part. This is a sequel to an old What If Broly landed in Yardrat. My good friend Professor Chimp, link in the description, helped me write this one a long time ago, and I thought it was finally time to see the light of day. I know a lot of people in my server really like the original story, so it was time to continue. If you haven't seen the original part, be sure to check it out first. If you'd like to see more, then be sure to leave a like. The like goal for this video is 3,000 likes. And don't forget to subscribe and share with friends who like Dragon Ball. In the previous episode, Broly, Paragus, and Beat landed on Yardrat. Though Broly and Beat fit into the civilization, and the Yardrats helped Broly control his power, Paragus had darker plans for his child, leading him to be ostracized by the planet that welcomed him. Years later, Goku landed on Yardrat, finding Broly and inviting him to his home world of Earth. Excited to find out more about his legendary power, the adventure continues now. Several years after receiving an ominous warning from a time traveler, Goku and his friends arrive on the edge of a cliff overlooking a city. As everyone catches up, Gohan realizes they're missing someone. Before he can mention it, however, two figures pop up in view, Broly and Beats. Gohan smiles with excitement, going up to Broly and greeting his friend. Broly smiles warmly as Goku welcomes him to the party. They're glad to have him there. Seeing the cheerful expression of his friend's face, Broly thought fondly about the past 3 years spent with them. After Trunks' departure, Bulma voiced an idea to track down Dr. Gero in his lab north and get rid of him before he could create any killer robots. But this proposal was quickly shot down by Vegeta. He even threatened to kill anyone who stands between him and this new challenge. Goku, Tenshinhan, and Piccolo wanted to face all these threats. Reluctantly, Bulma gave up trying to convince everyone, but she didn't appreciate the prince's threats and attitude. Vegeta's hostility was one of the reasons why Broly and Beats, who agreed with Bulma, decided to accept her invitation to stay and train at Capsule Corp. Beats decided long ago that fighting wasn't for him. Instead, he enjoyed working alongside Dr. Briefs and Bulma on various projects such as the Gravity Chamber. It reminded him of his old engineering job at Planet Vegeta. While Beats was busy fixing and building things, Broly focused on training his body and spirit. He had spent most of his life living as a Yardrat on planet Yardrat, and training his spiritual and physical self was a part of his daily routine. Goku, Piccolo, and Gohan would routinely visit him to train by him, assisting them whenever possible. With Goku's help, Broly tried to teach the principles of spirit control to Gohan and Piccolo to the best of his abilities. Broly and Goku weren't the best teachers, but Gohan and Piccolo were fast learners. It didn't take long for the pair to grasp the fundamentals and figure out how to use instant transmission. Although Gohan was ecstatic, Vegeta was frustrated beyond belief. The prince never approved of this rogue Saiyan staying where he stayed at, and over that, sensing Broly's presence nearby every day was a constant reminder that there were people out there far stronger than himself. He refused Goku's training, choosing to instead take the spaceship Beats and Dr. Briefs were creating and setting off into space. Broly was upset after Vegeta's departure. He had thought that he had done something wrong. However, Bulma made sure to cheer Broly up. That conceited Vegeta has always been very moody. She was getting sick and tired of his attitude. She'd much rather have a cute sweetheart like him around. Bulma winked at Broly, but he had no idea what she was talking about. As the years went by and the Z-Fighters became stronger, Broly continued to be plagued by memories of his past. He couldn't forget all the abuse he suffered at the hands of his father, Paragus. Yet, he couldn't bring himself to hate him. These conflicting thoughts affected his abilities in battle, and Broly needed to refocus his efforts in meditation. However, Broly was never able to shake off the looming feeling of dread. Every now and then, he could swear a malevolent force hunted and followed him at all times. When he talked about it, Goku and Beats reassured him that there wasn't anyone stalking him. They couldn't sense any malicious ki around. Broly did his best to believe them and focus on training, but he was never able to shake it off. Broly snapped back to reality as Gohan asks him if he's alright. Even Beats is worried, but Broly reassures him that he's alright. He was just thinking about how much they've all improved. Gohan regained his bright smile, expressing how eager he was to show off to Broly and his dad what he's learned from their training. Bulma soon arrives with her baby boy, Trunks. While Goku lets the baby's name slip, which makes Broly and Beats smile fondly as it confirms the hunch they had, Bulma asks Beats why he's here of all places. as he reassures her that he isn't going to fight. He's only there to assist innocent bystanders. Besides that, he's not getting involved. Krillin tries to guess the baby's father as Yamcha, but Bulma shakes her head. Krillin asks once again who it is. It seems that Bulma was about to give an answer when suddenly blasts ring off around the city, but they didn't feel a sharp ki surge. Of course, androids couldn't be felt, they're robots. They don't have any ki sense. Broly tells Bulma to stay put and keep Trunks safe as the Z fighters head towards the city. As Broly looks around the city pondering his options, he notices the ki of his allies falling fast. With no time to waste, Broly places 2 fingers on his forehead and teleports over to witness the horrifying scene. Broly sees a figure holding onto Yamcha's face, impaling him with their arm, bleeding out. It's someone familiar, someone he hadn't seen in many years. It was his father, but he wasn't like the Paragus he remembered. The dark black hair of his youth replaced his white hair of old. His face was youthful, without any wrinkles or scars. This was the Paragus that had abused him with his awful, torturous training. Yet, his ki was changed. It was different, unlike anything Broly had felt before.
Well, look who it is. It's a pleasure to see you again, my son. After all this time, I can finally have my revenge.
As Broly continues to look on in shock, the Z fighters gather around as they see what happened to Yamcha. Everyone could tell that one of these men was a Saiyan. He couldn't hide his tail after all. But who was he? Was he one of the androids? Beats is shocked to see Paragus is back, demanding to know why he's here on Earth of all places. With a devilish grin, Paragus reveals the truth. He had followed them to this planet many years ago, witnessing the death of Frieza and King Cold. Ever since, he has been preparing for this moment, for the day he claims his revenge. Now they would all get a taste of his new immense power. At this point, Paragus notices that the prince wasn't there, but that's fine. This just means that he can focus on killing his son first. The Saiyan tosses aside the dying Yamcha without any hesitation, as if he were simply a piece of trash. Broly's anger flares up for the first time in many years upon witnessing this. His father hadn't changed at all. Broly charges at Paragus, but to everyone's surprise, he is able to block his son's attack. Broly's anger rises as he continues his attempt to punch Paragus, with each dodged attack making him even angrier. Beats yells at Broly to calm down and take the battle outside of the city. Did he want innocent people to die? The Z fighters then notice 2 other beings, an old man with long white hair and a round, white, mime-like creature, both wearing the symbols of the Red Ribbon Army. They attempt to destroy the city, but their ki blasts are deflected by Piccolo and Goku in the nick of time, as Broly continued to battle his father. Goku and Piccolo square off against androids 19 and 20. The fights are explosive, forcing the Z fighters to retreat and rescue any civilians they can come across. As the battle rages on, Broly starts to notice something. His attacks were becoming weaker and weaker each time Paragus parried them. Paragus chuckled, lifting his hand up to reveal a red jewel on his palm. Hadn't he noticed? He was stealing his energy. Paragus enlightens the confused Broly, telling him that Gero had implemented an energy-draining device on his hands. Although he was never able to figure out spirit fission, this would be the next best thing. Paragus then drops a bombshell. Over the last few years, he had been observing Broly through the shadows, sending out clones to study him, his movements, his techniques, for many years, preparing for the day he would get his revenge.
You know, you might know everything I'm going to do, but that's not going to help you, since I know everything you're going to do, my son. Strange, isn't it?
Broly couldn't believe it. His gut feeling was right. He was being followed. It didn't matter if his father knew his moves, he wouldn't allow him to win. Yet, it is becoming clear as the battle progresses that Broly is becoming weaker, drained as his anger clouded his thoughts. As Goku bursts into Super Saiyan to fight off 19, the heart virus kicks in. Android 19 takes the advantage to absorb his energy. Gohan rushes in to attack the robot away to save his father. With 2 of their strongest fighters either busy or out of commission, Piccolo and Gohan prepare to face 19 and 20. Dr. Gero chuckles in amusement. Despite some minor changes in his data, his plans were progressing smoothly. It was truly fortunate that Paragus had found him when he did years ago. He had learned the existence of Dr. Gero thanks to eavesdropping on the heroes. After some investigating and introductions, they came to an agreement. In exchange for a live Saiyan test subject for his quest of revenge against Goku, Gero turned Paragus into an android to let him regain the prime of his youth and obtain retribution by killing Broly and Prince Vegeta with his own hands. Through this alliance fueled by the flames of hate, Paragus and Gero could have their revenge. Thankfully, in their darkest hour, a bright yellow aura lights the sky. Vegeta intervenes, dismantling 19 and surprising the allies with his newfound power. He had succeeded in achieving the legend of Super Saiyan. He's eager to show them all who the real Saiyan elite is. With no effort or remorse, Vegeta annihilates Android 19. Dr. Gero looks in shock at this feat of strength, which gives Piccolo the perfect opportunity to rip off one of his arms before blasting him point blank. Paragus is disappointed to see 19 and 20 defeated so easily, as Broly struggles near exhaustion. At that moment, Bulma flies over the battlefield, hoping to assess the situation and bring the senzu beans that were left with her. Gero takes that chance to blast the hover car and retreat. Paragus sighs, dropping the tired and drained Broly as he grabs onto the doctor. Piccolo and Gohan rush in to stop them, but it's too late. They have teleported away. Thankfully, Bulma and the baby are caught by another ally who acted fast. Future Trunks had arrived just in time. Piccolo and Gohan were glad to see him. They could really use some answers. Yet, Trunks appeared to be completely flabbergasted at what he sees. He doesn't remember Android 19. Who are these people? These aren't the androids from my timeline. As the Z Fighters gather around to wonder what to do next, Beats offers to take Goku somewhere safe in order to recover and get Goku's heart medicine. After giving senzu beans to Broly and Yamcha, the heroes question where Paragus and Android 20 could have gone. Bulma mentions that Android 20 was actually Dr. Gero all along, and that she knew where his lab could be. So they decided to head to the northern mountains, as Gero's lab was probably somewhere around there. Beats wishes them good luck and warns them to never underestimate Paragus as he teleports away with Goku, Bulma, and baby Trunks. As the Z Fighters fly over to the mountains, Broly apologizes to everyone for losing control like that. Seeing his father brings out the worst in him, it seems. Gohan soothes his worries, promising that him and Mr. Piccolo will be there for him next time any mean old man tries to attack Broly. He smiled. That's right, he wasn't alone anymore. He wasn't the same scared, lonely kid back on Yardrat. He has friends to rely on. He could overcome his father. Broly also formally introduces himself to Trunks and thanks him for saving Bulma and the baby. Trunks isn't sure what Broly means, but he confirms this is not the past of his own timeline. The threats were there nonetheless, so he could help them in any way he could. After an awkward moment of silence, Broly mentions that he noticed his ki was incredibly similar. He was Trunks, wasn't he? Future Trunks is surprised to hear this, but he nods. He was indeed an older version of the baby they saw earlier. Broly responds with a simple, "I see," and doesn't say anything else, merely smiling for the rest of the trip. Trunks can't seem to understand what this guy's deal is. He sure was strange. Nice, but strange. Far away in the northern mountains, Paragus and Gero appear before a shocked farmer holding a shotgun. The pair ignore this stunned man as they quickly make their way to the lab. Inside, Gero wastes no time in activating 18 and 17. Paragus says that this isn't necessary. He was more than enough to handle his son and his friends. But Gero was hearing none of it. He is furious, ridiculing Paragus and calling him a fool. If he wasn't too busy toying with his son, the 19 would have been destroyed and he wouldn't have lost an arm. Gero turns back to face the twins. However, before Gero can give them any orders, he's pierced by a ki blast through the chest.
You traitor! Why? It's because you weren't useful to me anymore. Simple as that. Goodbye, Doctor. It's been a pleasure working with you.
17 and 18 are impressed by Paragus' brutal move, but they aren't going to listen to him either. Paragus shakes his head, telling the androids that they better follow his orders if they know what's good for them. Paragus puts his right hand in his pocket as he pulls out a remote control. 17 and 18's stomachs drop. If they defy him, they'll simply be shut down, and he's not dumb nor weak enough to give the twins a chance to grab the remote. Paragus orders the twins to activate the other one, Android 16, which they begrudgingly do. Soon enough, the Z-Fighters discover a lab and enter as Trunks look on horror. There were 17 and 18 along with a Saiyan android and another new one. What was going on in this timeline? Paragus laughs earnestly, glad to see the subject of his hatred together at last. This would be the day Broly and Vegeta die. The former general stretched out his hand, commanding his androids to attack. Without much of a choice, 17 and 18 charge at the Z-Fighters as a battle breaks out. Vegeta bursts into Super Saiyan, eager to show off more of this legendary form, but his bravado is dashed when Paragus suddenly appears in front of him and headbutts him. The revitalized warrior is ready to enact his revenge on the prince first, starting by crushing his hands. Trunks cursed in anger at the sight of Paragus manhandling Vegeta as he jumps in, bursting into Super Saiyan and screaming, "Father!" But 17 decides that he will be his opponent and easily blast him, Gohan, and Piccolo away. Meanwhile, 18 keeps Tenshinhan and Yamcha busy, effortlessly toying with them, as 16 looks on silent. There was no Goku to be found, so he wouldn't fight for now. Paragus doesn't like his disobedience, but he shrugs it off in the middle of the battle. 17 and 18 are enough to deal with them anyways. However, this thought is interrupted as 17 and 18 are slammed to the ground. Broly, the last remaining of the Z-Fighters, was getting ready, his rage bubbling, his aura expanding.
I'm sick and tired of seeing my friends get hurt. Stop it!
Broly, wait! Broly's anger erupts as he yells out, the force of his shouts shaking the entire mountain range, destroying the lab as Broly enters his Ikari state for the first time in many years. Broly grabs onto 17 and 18's head, smacking them to the rocky walls and dragging them across the stone. They attempt to fight back, but it's no use. They can't escape Broly's wrath. 16 jumps in to defend his comrades, but he's barely able to do anything to the beast. The Z-Fighters, at least those still standing, don't know what to do as they try to just get out of the way. In a surprising turn of events, it's Krillin who saves 17 and 18 from getting killed by Broly. With a well-timed solar flare, Trunks protests. Perhaps this is what they needed to do to defeat the androids, but Krillin believes that these guys aren't as bad as they could be. They haven't done anything yet. They even let the others live. They're being coerced by Paragus. They deserve a chance. Paragus has had enough of this madness as he lets go of the broken prince. Vegeta was crawling on the ground, his death so close Paragus could almost taste it, but he had to take care of Broly now. Paragus concentrates, closing his eyes as he creates over a dozen clones, each one of them surrounding Broly like a pack of lions hunting this rampaging elephant, systematically wearing him down. While some of the clones draw Broly's attention, the others grab onto him and absorb his power. While Broly's power is rising, so is Paragus' own. As more and more clones are created that latch onto Broly, the Berserker finally starts to run out of stamina. Paragus seizes this opportunity as dozens upon dozens of clones of varying sizes dogpile Broly. During the chaos, Gohan manages to give a senzu bean to Piccolo. They needed to help Broly, but it was too late. The Z-Fighters watch on in disbelief as Paragus defeats Broly, his robotic body brimming with green energy which he could barely contain. Paragus had won. Gohan and Piccolo look at each other and nod. They know what they need to do. Without a moment of hesitation, Piccolo extends his arms out, grabbing onto Trunks and the rest of his allies. As Gohan teleports Broly away, Paragus realizes what they're doing, but before he does anything about it, the Z-Fighters are all gone. Paragus is annoyed, but no matter. They are merely trying to delay the inevitable. He sends out his platoon of clones to search the world for any sign of those bothersome pests and his son. As the androids recuperate, Paragus begins his own search alongside the androids. 16 mentions Goku's house, as Goku is his main target. This is where he wants to go. Paragus was about to destroy that worthless android, but he thought about it. Of course, if they went after Kakarot, those pests would show up there. It's perfect. 17 and 18 were forced along as well. But clearly, that Broly guy was much stronger than they were. The others were no problems though. 17 swears to himself that he'll crush that idiot next time he sees him. But 18 rolls her eyes, telling her brother to chill out. Paragus was impatient, as 16 was taking too long. But 16, the gentle giant, while he wants to kill Goku, he also wants to free his siblings, and taking the long way might give them a chance to steal that remote. 17 even suggests stealing a car and going on a road trip. Paragus is adamantly against it. 17 had already stolen a delivery van. Paragus slaps his forehead in frustration. Elsewhere, the Z-Fighters suddenly startled Dr. Briefs and Panchi by appearing in front of them in the Capsule Corp gardens. Beats had just returned from Mount Pautsu with Chi-Chi and the medicine. Goku is now recovering, but as Piccolo fills them in, Beats is extremely alarmed. Paragus was dangerous, even more so than before, and cannot be underestimated. And they couldn't stay here and endanger all of West City. After all, Paragus could teleport to them. So they needed to hide their key and keep everyone safe. Vegeta, with his pride wounded, after being bested, then saved, blasts away without a word, and without listening to reason. He's the Prince of all Saiyans. He will surpass them all. Trunks tries to go after him, but Broly stops him.
But father,
Leave him alone. It's what he wants. Sometimes, you need to let people have their space, especially when they're angry. Krillin mentions that they should go to Kame House. It was a remote location compared to West City. Everyone agrees. But they couldn't exactly teleport or fly there, could they? At least not without alerting Paragus. As the Z Fighters enter a large capsule ship to fly to Kame House, Piccolo chooses to head to the lookout in an old-fashioned way. He hated having to resort to this option, but if it works, he might be able to reach Kame sooner, and more importantly, gain the power to destroy the androids. After cracking his neck and stretching his legs, Piccolo gets in a sprinting position and dashes out of Capsule Corp. He was so fast, he could simply speed past the cars on the road. It takes several hours, but eventually the Z-Fighters arrive at Kame House, as Roshi and Turtle give tea to everyone. Bulma confronts her son from the future. She's holding the baby version of this young man against her. They do look familiar. The hair, the eyes, they were identical, but something was off. Bulma asks, "So, you're Trunks, right? Broly told me all about you."
Yeah. I'm sorry, Mom, but I'm worried about Dad.
"I'm okay."
Huh? What are you talking about? I'm referring to my father.
"We know. And he's right. Broly's doing just fine. Are you alright, Trunks?"
I'm perfectly fine, but please listen. Like I'm saying, I'm worried about Vegeta. I think we should find him.
Oh, who cares about that little gremlin anyways? That man is nothing but trouble.
I know you're angry at him, Mom, but he's still my father.
What are you talking about? Did you hit your head or something? Your father's Broly, not Vegeta.
What?
The world is turned upside down for our heroes, with the androids on the hunt. The Z-Fighters hide as they plan their next course of action. Yet not everything is as it seems. Trunks is left stunned by how different this timeline is, including how his father isn't actually Vegeta, and far away, an even darker threat would soon rear its ugly head. Will our heroes be able to overcome this crisis? Find out next time on What If Broly was sent to Yardrat. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. This one has been a long time coming, but I'm glad to finally have it out. A huge thank you to my friend Andrew, link in the description, for editing this video. I've been away for a while, so this was massive help. And don't worry, I know it's been a little slow on the channel lately, but I'm getting organized and more videos will be coming out soon and more often. Thank you to the patrons of the channel as always. The Dude Mitchell, Justin, Mao Lick, Cyber Samurai, Beastman 420, Faisal Alsharef, Akko, Grim Shadow 227, Giovanni Jimenez, Zanos, D-Man for Life, Blaze 9526, Crazed PlayStation CK, Free Flow Highway, Shane K, True Lightning Striker, Ghost 1571, Lee Urquidez, Kaiser Jirachi, Trench Rolls, D-Man Plays 22, Jim G, Jerome Foster, Salil Pranjape, Keith Grimes, and Samuel Randall. Patreons get to watch videos like this early, so consider supporting the channel, as it helps with editing, writing, and all that stuff. Anyways guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and until we meet again, see ya!